Hey everyone, this is my video for week 34 of the HearthPwn weekly card design competition. And this week's competition rules were that you had to make a card that had something to do with discarding things. And I came up with this. Battle cry, summon a random demon for every card that you've discarded this game. So, shock horror, it's a warlock card because I love warlock so much. But I just have so many good ideas of stuff that I want to put into warlock decks. And plus, Kil'Jaeden is pretty fucking cool, so... Looking at it stat-wise, it compares exactly to Varian. And if we're comparing it to Varian, we should probably compare sort of the power level, right? So Varian, upon being revealed, was pretty hyped up to be a really powerful card. Everyone was getting really excited about it and thinking, well, you know, oh, we're going to run this in every single warrior deck, it's going to be insane, no matter what happens you always get 3 cards, and then it kind of turned out to be not as good as what people thought. I'm not really that excited about the card. If I got a copy from PAX, I'd be pretty excited to, you know, give it a few tries, but I just don't think it's as good as it should be. You know, when you get to a really late game and you're playing a card like that costs 10 mana and draws you 3 cards, sometimes it can just make you fatigue faster. But this card, summon a random demon for every card that you've discarded this game. So what I've basically done is tried to make cards that discard other cards a bit better, because the downside is really big. Now a card like Soulfire is already a good card. It used to cost 0 mana, and back in those days it was really good. And then they increased the cost by 1 mana and nobody really used it anymore, but it's still used in the Malygos combo kind of warlock, and I feel like this card would be good enough to sort of bring it back. Plus there's a lot of risk reward. If you're running a deck that discards things, there's the potential that you may discard Kil'Jaeden, and if that happens you'll be really sad, because this card is designed to be a finisher. I mean, if a card costs 10 mana, you should be able to end the game with it, you know. If you play Deathwing, you should be able to win the game with Deathwing. If you play Kil'Jaeden, you should be able to win the game with it. And it's not just something you can play and on its own it's good. You have to build up to it, you have to earn it. I actually think this card is pretty balanced, and I'll explain why. If you think of a card like Voidcaller, it's a really popular card in demon decks. But you may not actually want to run a copy of that card in a deck with Kil'Jaeden in it, because you really don't want to pull Kil'Jaeden out of your hand and onto the board, because then you lose the battle cry and it's just a 7/7. I mean, it's still good and maybe you do still run it, but this is your big finisher. You know, you're going to build a deck around this card, and you're going to hope that it's going to be enough to win you the game. So with Soulfire already we know it's going to be pretty good. You ought to include 2 copies of that. But what about the other cards that discard? Doomguard is one that kind of screams this is going to be good, because Doomguard discards 2 cards. So if you play a Doomguard and then when it gets to late game you play Kil'Jaeden, that's already 2 random demons. Plus you get the huge tempo swing of what Doomguard brings anyway. Fist of Jaraxxus. It's still hard to see Fist of Jaraxxus being a really good card, but I don't know. It kind of raises the question of how many discards do you need for this card to gain value? I would say about 3. So if you discard 3 cards throughout the game, you'll get 3 random demons, and I think that's good enough. So let's say you run a Doomguard and 2 Soulfires. that should be enough. And then you have room to put in more stuff. What about Succubus? Maybe we see Succubus being run. Highly doubt it. 4-3 isn't really that important. 3 health isn't quite enough. Normally just dies to a Frostbolt or something, and then you're down a card. Maybe Dark Bargain. I actually played against the Dark Bargain in Arena and got completely destroyed by it. It's not a terrible card, and you discard 2 cards again, so it helps sort of build up to it. So there's a lot of potential for a card like this, and it is, I believe that it is quite balanced, because it does sort of have counter synergy with Void Caller, and also has a lot of risk reward. It's hard to say what kind of deck it might fit into, but you would definitely build a deck around this card because it's powerful enough to just outright win you the game. And it looks really fucking cool. If this card existed, it would be amazing. It would be so cool. Yeah, I think it's just really fun. And random demons are fun because the variance is so huge. You know, you might end up just with a piece of shit imp, or you might end up summoning a Kil'Jaeden or a Mal'Ganis or one of the big demons, right? But overall, I think this looks like a card that would be really fun, and I don't know. I'm surprised that I came up with the idea so quickly, because I actually think it's really good. I'd be totally happy if this existed in the game. But let me know what you think.